It is time for the Brian Schottenheimer Show. Every Friday at this time on Shan and RJ, along with Cowboys insider Bobby Belt. It's brought to you by Black Rifle Coffee Company, the official coffee of the Dallas Cowboys. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Good morning, guys. Hey, I can't believe it's a full crew today with this close to the holidays. I'm shocked you three all made it today.
You know what? Wow. I'm so glad you stepped right into that trap.
Yeah.
As you just told our producer, Peyton, that you're out and not doing the interview next Friday. So I just want to counter with that. That's my counterpunch.
National holiday.
Shut up,
I
RJ.
always show up. Hey, I always show up, baby. Don't worry about that. I'll always show up, guys.
You're literally not going to be here next Friday.
Hey, we'll see. You know, I'm a busy man.
Coach, Todd Archer came out with the news yesterday that DaRon Bland faces another surgery on his left foot. When did this, was it an injury that happened, and if so, when?
No, it wasn't an injury. First of all, DaRon's such a great player. At the end of the day, it's just these things happen sometimes when you go and you get your foot fixed and things like that. These things happen, and it's just something where it kind of, over time it wore down, and it's unfortunate for DaRon, but he's such a great competitor, and again, he and I have had multiple conversations since we found out, and he understands the journey that he's got to go upon again, but he's going to do a great job and come back better than before.
How long did it kind of linger for him this year? Because it seemed like a season that was not up to his standard.
Yeah, again, I think, at the end of the day, it wasn't a season of anybody's standard right now as we sit here with 3 to go. But, again, I think, it's one of those situations where, it comes and goes. And then at the end of the day, when you go and you look at it, you see that, hey, there's something that we need to go in and fix surgically. And, again, that starts the process of, a long rehab, but he'll do a great job with it.
Is there concern for his availability to start off training camp and next season? No,
we think everything should go great.
Brian Schottenheimer right here on 105.3 The Fan. Coach, does this affect Trayvon Diggs' status maybe being bumped up since you guys are down a man?
Well, again, I'll say this, my thing and stance with Trayvon's never changed, and he's having a good first couple of days, and we'll get out there today and see how today goes. But, again, we all want Trayvon to get out there and play, and he's got to keep doing his part. And, again, I think, like I said, he's doing a great job this week, and I hope and believe that will continue today.
Yeah, Schotty, so you've said recently, you had these standards or these boxes that you kind of wanted to see him check before you guys felt like he could get out there. So when you say he's had a good first 2 days this week, does that mean that he's checked those boxes for you in these first 2 days of practice?
Yeah, what I'm saying is he's met the standard these first 2 days, and that's exciting. And it looks like he's having a lot of fun out there playing football, which is what I love. I love guys that when they're competing every day to be the best versions of themselves, they're doing it with a smile because we're all so blessed to be able to coach and play this game.
Brian Schottenheimer here on The Fan. Big news yesterday was, at least for us, Matt Eberflus moving upstairs to coordinate these final 3 games. Why the change?
Well, again, at the end of the day, we all understand that we need to play better on defense. That's not a secret. Nobody's shied away from that. Certainly, Flus hasn't shied away from that. I think as we look for options and ideas, it was something that Matt and I talked about. And at the end of the day, I've called plays for a long time in this league, and there's no question. Only 1 year was up in the box. There's no question you can see things better up in the box. You can make quicker adjustments up in the box. And I think when Matt and I kind of talk through this stuff, it became very clear that that's where we want to put him so that we can make some adjustments faster. And I think it's going to be a great thing for us.
Is this a move you wish you maybe made a little bit sooner, earlier in the season?
No, it's a fair question, but no. I mean, again, you got to remember we make the trade for Quinnen. We actually start playing, really, good defense, and we rip off 3 games in a row. You're certainly not going to do it after 1 game. You lose to Detroit, but just looking at everything from a holistic approach with just kind of the consistency or the inconsistency of the way we've played on defense. It was something that I felt was the best thing for us.
Brian Schottenheimer with us here on 105.3 The Fan. Coach, what changed for you guys the last 2 weeks that some of the problems you guys had generating pressure earlier in the season, that those seem to have returned after what was a pretty good stretch of getting to the passer?
Yeah, different things. I thought Detroit did a really good job of chipping the edges and things like that. We're certainly at our best when we're in our 5-down fronts. And then, when you're not getting home, as you guys know, you got to find ways to pressure the quarterback, and that's going to require bringing a fifth guy or a sixth guy in some regards. And I just think the overall consistency of the execution has not been there. But again, that's one of the other things is when you're sitting up in the box and you can and you got that 30,000-foot view. Clayton can attest to that, right? Like Clayton's a guy who's rarely ever been up in the box, but you just see things so much better up there. And again, it's one of those situations where I really feel like, okay, hey, we're not getting pressure, we're not affecting the quarterback. And with Flus's experience and how well he sees the game, I think being up there is going to help him be able to make adjustments quicker.
Coach, I didn't write it down accurately, I don't think. How many times did you say you coordinated upstairs versus sideline?
One time in 2020, I ended up moving up in the box in Seattle. And I did that for different reasons, but the point of view, there's no distractions up there. You see much clearer what's going on, whether you're winning the line of scrimmage, whether you're not, whether you're playing man to man well, whether you're getting pressure on the quarterback. For the offensive guy, hey, are we getting movement in the running game because you're staring down at it? Again, it's when you're sitting on the sidelines, you're like, hey, what happened on the right side or the far sideline? Like I can't see what the hell happened. And up in the box, it's a lot easier to see things. And again, my big thing is, hey, if we're not getting pressure or if we're not having success, we got to make those adjustments. And I do believe that this will help us do that.
So, Coach, why didn't you do it more than just the one time with all those advantages up top?
It's a great point. The trade-off is that, again, talking to the quarterback and being able to do that on the sidelines, I think is important. But I would say this to you guys, that really the magic for me is if you're up, you got to have incredible people down because they have to carry your message. And when you're down, you want to put your great eyes or guys that you can hear to. So there's lots of ways to do it. The other thing I wanted was I wanted a little bit of a safe place from Pete. Pete was so energetic. He was throwing his gum all over the place, and so I'd get hit with gum sometimes. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to get hit with gum up in the press box.
At least he didn't make you pick it up like Spurrier.
Hey, good call. Yeah, I've had to do a lot of picking up of stuff over my career.
Brian Schottenheimer joined us here, 105 through the Fan. What do you look for in determining whether the issue with a particular unit, doesn't have to be the defense, just any unit in general, whether the problem with the unit is a coaching issue or a personnel issue? What do you look for in that?
Yeah, well, number one, I don't think it's ever just one, right? I think it's a little bit of everything. I think at the end of the day, what you do is you go back and you keep eyes on it, and we've got tabs. When we go back after every game and we write down our after-action reports, the things we did well, the things that we need to improve, and then a plan of how we're going to improve them. And, again, I think there's some weeks where, if you're beat up, it is personnel. When you're beat up and maybe you're missing 4 offensive linemen in one game and you're like, man, we didn't run the ball well or we didn't protect very well or whatever. And then otherwise it's like, man, we didn't have a great plan or, hey, we didn't adjust very quickly. So rarely is it ever one thing, guys. It's usually a combination of both. And that's why it's so important to have the connection right between your coaches and your players. And when we make adjustments as coaches, the players have to believe. And then, quite honestly, we do ask the players their opinions, like, hey, what are you thinking? What are you seeing? And, again, that's why it's a very comprehensive approach.
Coach, you've preached competition all year, and with the playoffs seemingly like a long shot at this point, are these next few games going to be a good gauge for you to determine who that compete message has landed with?
Yeah, again, and I don't really worry about that, guys. I think this unit, this group of young men, I mean, they've given us everything we've ever asked for. And again, if you truly do believe in the compete every day mantra, then it should show. And again, we've had a really good week of practice. We're playing a really good football team. I mean, the Chargers are a very, very good football team. You can, look at not just their record, but the way that they, the quarterback and the way the defense is playing from a statistical standpoint, the way they're getting pressure on the quarterback. But at the end of the day, we're focused on us, and we want to win. And it's every game we play. You don't win every game you play, but again, the main focus right now is going out and playing well and finding a way to beat the Chargers on Sunday at home in front of our fans.
Coach, in the event that the games do become, I don't want to say meaningless, but the team is eliminated from playoff contention, where do you draw the line on competing and culture versus a draft pick and injury prevention and getting to look at guys that didn't get a ton of playing time?
Yeah, the starting point for us is always to compete to win. I mean, that's just the way it always is. And, again, I think at the end of the day, when you look at this, you can do that a lot of different ways. And at the end of the day, as we work and we practice, there's certainly guys you're like, hey, does this guy earn the right to play? Well, yeah, if the guy earns the right to play, then, yeah, maybe you want to take a look at that guy. But I can promise you this, the main focus that we always look at is, hey, what gives us the best chance to win? And why? Because at the end of the day, we're all being evaluated as a football team, as a coaching staff, as a group of players, as an organization on whether we win or we lose.
Coach, we all try to do this off-season topic of like momentum and things that you can establish into the off-season that can carry over for next year. Can you recall any specific instances in your time where pulling guys and quote-unquote organically tanking negatively, positively affected, playing all the guys when you're eliminated, positively affected heading into the offseason? Because, I mean, we want you to pull everyone, get the draft pick, and make sure Dak's good for next year. You're not going to do that, it sounds like. Can you recall instances where it has really helped or hurt?
Yeah, I think it's different. I mean, like, again, I look at it this way. We come in and we work, Monday, Tuesday, players are off Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and, of course, next week.
You're off.
I'm off Friday. But, yeah, we're going to grind getting ready for Thursday because Christmas Eve will be up in Washington, or Christmas Day, I guess. But, at the end of the day, guys, again, there's different ways to look at it. And when we're in year one of this program, and what we're trying to build is a culture that's all about winning. And to me, yeah, you could say, hey, let's not play anybody, or let's do this or that. And again, will we play some guys that earn the right to play that maybe haven't played a lot? Yeah, potentially, if they've earned the right to play. But at the end of the day, I think you keep it very simple. And, hey, we're going to compete every day. We want to win. And, again, I know I understand why you guys say what you want to say, but you can't be all about winning. You can't be all about competing every day and then be like, okay, hey, I'm going to take next Friday off, or hey, I'm going to do this, or hey, I'm not going to play this guy or that guy. At the end of the day, I think, that's the wrong message to your players.
Coach, what kind of an adjustment is it to pivot from one defense like Minnesota, which likes to disguise a lot and show you a bunch of different looks and then bail out of them at the snap of the ball, versus a team like the Chargers who are a little more straightforward and about executing at a high level?
Well, basically, this is my favorite part of the segment when you and I get a chance to talk ball.
Thank you, Schotty. Yeah, of course.
Because you're the only guy that understands the difference between, like, 7-Up and all this stuff, and then the cover four that we're going to see this week with Derwin James playing the Buffalo nickel.
Yep.
I mean, you're the only one. I mean, really, this is our show.
Ball knowers, the two of us,
You should have taken off today, too.
Yeah.
But, no, it's a great question because I'll tell you what, man, Jesse Minter's done an incredible job with this defense. Again, you just watch the way these guys play. But, yeah, very different. They don't do a whole lot on first, second down. They're driven by quarters. They play spot drop zone, which means when they drop, they're dropping to a location on the field, and all eyes are on the quarterback. And that generally works the best, guys, when you've got an elite pass rush, and they've got an elite pass rush with Thule and Khalil Mack, and they got the guy from Baltimore. I mean, they've got dudes up front, and so very, very different. And again, it puts more of an onus on our execution because Minnesota, they took chances, and we hurt them some. I mean, ended up coming away with 26 points. But this defense is very, very. They're patient, and they make you work for everything you get.
Is Harbaugh the most old school style left in the league?
Yeah, I got to say, I love the fact he still wears gloves during pregame warm-up. I love the fact that he still catches balls and things like that. But again, they are a physical football team. He's built that. You watch these guys play offense, man, and it's all – two tight ends. They've got the 280-pound fullback, Matlock, and, of course, the quarterback is just an absolute stud. People don't realize how well he moves. I think he's rushed for over 500 yards this year. But, Jim has always had a certain style about him. I go back to when he was playing. He came into Arrowhead my year coaching, I think, in Kansas City and beat us as a player. And he's just always been the same person. And, again, you guys know me. I'm all about authenticity. And the one thing you can say about Jim, he's always authentic. He is who he is, and his teams model his personality.
Thank you so much, Coach. Most of it was enjoyable as usual, and enjoy the break next week.
Hey, guys, Merry Christmas. I really do appreciate you guys, for real. You guys make my Fridays enjoyable, really, for real. Thanks.
Back at you, Coach. We appreciate you. Brian Schottenheimer, brought to you by Black Rifle Coffee Company, the official coffee of the Dallas